Last year, my husband, Harry, and I met my parents, aunt and uncle for Thanksgiving. They'd been vacationing together a few days prior. As we were leaving, my aunt, visibly upset, pulled me aside. "I need to talk to you. Can you call me in a few days?" I asked if she was okay. She said, "Yes, I just need to ask you something, but not now." When I called to ask what was going on, my aunt said, "I've heard something that seems very out of character for you and I want to see if it's true." Evidently, a few days before Thanksgiving, my parents told her an untrue story about how my current husband and I met. To note, I was separated at the time from my now ex-husband when we met. According to my parents, she explained that I met Harry while online soliciting for a proposed threesome with my ex-husband as a last-ditch effort to salvage my then failing marriage. However, during this tryst, Harry and I supposedly realized we had a connection, which led us to be together while choosing to dissolve my previous marriage. My parents shared more gross details, but I'll spare you. I was shocked as none of this was true. We met at work through mutual friends and our romantic relationship developed slowly over a period of time. I'd repeatedly told my parents how we met and even introduced our mutual friends to my parents at our wedding as the ones who got us together. So I FaceTimed my parents and asked them why they're lying about us behind our backs. They look me dead in the eyes and say, "Because that's what you told us." Excuse me? When I refuted this, my dad proceeds to get angry at me, saying that I must have amnesia as my mom stormed off refusing to discuss the issue. The rest of the call is me sitting in silence while he attempted to gaslight me. I'm dumbfounded. A few days later, I got a call from my cousin. She explains that my dad had told her husband the same story almost 8 years ago, which they'd believed until now. My cousin apologized for not saying anything sooner, but the story made them so uncomfortable they didn't know what to do. Harry and I wrote my parents an email explaining that we'd discovered and asked them some simple questions like, "Why did you make this up? Who else have you told?" etc. We've been emailing back and forth for almost a year and have gotten nowhere. Their story keeps changing, the blame keeps shifting, and they've continuously tried to diminish the seriousness of this issue, even saying, "No one thinks any less of you because of it." What? It never happened. Period. The only apology we've gotten is, "We're sorry for upsetting you." You mean you're not sorry for lying about your daughter for 10 years? Most recently, they've almost demanded that we forgive them and move on. Since we haven't forgiven them yet, we're responsible for my mother crying all the time and essentially breaking the family apart. So, am I the idiot for wanting to continue to avoid my parents, even though I'm tearing the family apart? Not the idiot. Holy crap, are they okay mentally? Well, firstly, they made up the story and got themselves in this damn dilemma, so the responsibility is on them for a start. And who in their right mind makes up stories about their kids soliciting three-ways? Even a grown-up kid. Is it something your ex could have invented to ruin your reputation? Very disturbing. I actually had the same thought, so I contacted him. My ex is equally as disturbed and angry as we are. I actually started looking into personality disorders after this event. Based on my research, I think they are crazy. If the ex didn't say anything, then you should go no contact with your parents. You don't need parents spreading rumors like that. It's so weird and gross that they went into detail about the imaginary incident. That kind of borders on psychopathic behavior, especially because they don't understand why you're so upset. Have they made up other stories about you in the past? Even by some weird chance, that crazy story would be remotely true. Why would you share this with family about your own child? I mean, what? The way your dad jumped to anger and your mother just walked away, I suspect it was her idea and story, and your dad enabled her by treating it like fact. And this isn't the first time this has happened. I think they've earned a nice long time out. 10 years seems about right, doesn't it? I'm, female teen, a younger sister to Laurie, 26. Laurie and I have never been close since we had different dads. I was an affair baby. She's always resented me for ruining her family, but whatever. Laurie has 6 kids. Yes, 6. Twin boys, Beck and Joe, planned. A girl, Liliana, unplanned. Another girl, Angel, planned. Another boy, Keith, planned. And another baby boy, Carl, not planned. Even though Laurie cannot take care of these kids, 4 of them were planned. Because she knows my pushover mom will give her money and watch the kids, my mom even quit her job to do so, even turning her workroom into a nursery for Carl. We're pretty well off, but we can't do this forever. I try not to judge and ignore Laurie as she does me, even though when my mom is busy doing something like changing a diaper, I have to step in and help, especially with the twins since they're very rough with each other. Tonight at dinner, Laurie's boyfriend joined, a father to just Carl as well as Laurie's father. This wasn't unusual, so I didn't think anything of it until my sister said she had some exciting news. I wish she'd say something else, but I knew what she was going to say. "I'm pregnant," she would say. Everyone went dead silent until I said, "Bruh." I didn't mean to say it out loud, but come on. Laurie gave me a death stare and said if I wanted to say something, I should just say it. So I did. "Laurie, this is your," I could take a moment to count, "6th child. You know we can't keep supporting you. Without Mom, you'd be on the streets, and you know that. Look at Mom, she's so tired. She's always taking care of your kids, and so am I. I bet I've changed more diapers than you have, you selfish witch." She began crying and ran into her boyfriend's car. He followed her and drove. My mother then began to cry. She left to get Carl back to bed as he woke up. It was just me and Laurie's father. He began to yell and told me I was a brat and Laurie was a great mother, and then he stormed off. As I'm sitting here in the morning watching the boys, I'm thinking, was I too obnoxious? My mom says that a lot. I don't mean to be because of my autism, but come on. Please give me some feedback. My God, it's a uterus, not a clown car. Not the idiot, you were blunt for sure, but at some point something needs to be said. She can't take care of her already present children, and bringing more of them into the world is completely insane. Both for her, for your mom, for you, who ends up helping way too much for your age, and most importantly, for those kids. The irony of them all yelling at OP for saying Laurie is a bad mother, then Laurie leaves with none of her kids, leaving them with OP and Grandma. That says it all. You are a little bit the idiot for how and when you said it, but you're also a teenager, and your sister is supposed to be an adult with a fully developed brain. It absolutely wasn't your place to say anything, but clearly, no one else in your family was going to. You need to save up and move out. Those kids are not your problem. The dramatics in this post. I take a moment to count. And to top it all off, OP's counting is off. She's just named the 6th kid Laurie already has, which would mean that this is Laurie's 7th child, not 6th. Do you have an exit plan for when you're 18? You already have childcare pushed on you. It will worsen once you finish school. Can you get a part-time job and/or start spending a lot of time with a friend or friends? Make yourself scarce or minimize being forced to babysit. Maybe that will force your mom to make your sister more involved or push her to force your sister to find other sitters. 7 kids and counting is too many. I, 27 male, have been married to my wife, 26, for a little over a year. Last week it was my wife's birthday and she received a $3,000 diamond necklace from my brother, 30. I was pretty weirded out by this, as even though my brother is far from poor, he's not the type to gift anyone gifts worth thousands, and he especially never gave my wife something as expensive as this. My wife shrugged it off as if it was nothing, and my brother felt generous. Here's where I might be the idiot. I still felt uneasy about the gift, so I brought it up to my brother's wife, 30, and she lost it on him. Apparently she never agreed to my brother gifting another woman such an expensive gift. Now both my brother and my wife are mad at me. My brother for creating problems in his marriage, and my wife who thinks I only blabbed about my brother's gift for her to my sister-in-law just because I'm insecure my own birthday gift for her wasn't as expensive. I paid for a full spa day for her, which she really liked, but it indeed wasn't as expensive as my brother's necklace. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Let's break it down. Your brother and your wife are dancing horizontally. They think you're too dumb to notice, and as a private joke between them, he gives her an expensive necklace in front of you. They thought they would be able to get away with being blatant about their relationship. You stuff things up by contacting the sister-in-law, who has a few more dozen IQ points than your good self and recognizes horizontal dancing when she sees it. That's what this is about. OP, you should swap wives with bro on a permanent basis. If your wife takes half of your assets and your sister-in-law takes half of theirs, you'd get the better deal. I feel a little sad, as I would have been this clueless in my first marriage. I was blind to my ex-wife setting herself to exit the marriage years before she did. I adored her and couldn't see anything wrong, even though my family and friends warned me. If my husband gave me a $3,000 necklace, I'd be wondering what he did, because clearly the man's trying to apologize or something. Info: any signs that your wife is cheating, apart from the $3,000 necklace? I'll be waiting for your next post, where you confirm they're having an affair. Everyone is going to assume your brother and wife are having an affair, but I think the truth is much more sinister. The necklace is cursed. Bringing it into your home will attract the attentions of the old ones. Disavow your brother, he's trying to kill you, and abandon your wife. She's already come to their attention, it's too late for her. Rescue your sister-in-law and flee. I'm a male teen, the oldest of 4. My siblings are Kalia, a female tween, Thea, a female tween, and Dex, a male tween. Our mom died 8 years ago. Kalia and I are the only ones who remember her, and I remember her more than Cal does. But we have always shared stories of our mom with Thea and Dex. I also have a bunch of photos and videos they've seen, and they do ask about her, including asking our dad sometimes. 2 years after Mom died, my dad met my stepmom and married her quickly, 7-ish months later. At the time, they spoke about her adopting the 4 of us. I said no. There was some debate between them, and they decided to hold off until she could adopt all 4 of us. She was still new to me, so I found it incredibly weird to have someone offer to adopt me 5 months after I met them, especially when she and my dad were both aware that I remembered Mom. None of my siblings have ever called our stepmom Mom. Thea and Dex call her by a nickname and Kalia calls her by her name like me, but my siblings consider her a parent, while I consider her more my dad's wife. The adoption topic never really went away, and a couple of years ago, I did some research and learned that adoption would alter my birth certificate, and I would be issued a new one if I agreed. My stepmom's name would replace my mom's name as my mother. I researched the topic extensively because I knew the issue would reach a boiling point eventually. I even got to web chat with a local lawyer who knew the details of that stuff. A couple of months ago, my siblings asked me why I mentioned downsides to being adopted, and I told them stepmom's name would replace mom's on our birth certificates, and I didn't want her to replace Mom on mine. I showed them what I found. Kalia understood, and Thea and Dex got it when we put it into more kid-friendly terms. My dad and stepmom brought up the adoption again last week, and Dad said it would be the last time or they would proceed with her adopting my siblings. I told them my answer remained no and gave them a very detailed speech on why. My stepmom said I could always frame my original birth certificate if that would make it better and people would see it, but I would still be adopted and be her son. I said no. When they did go to my siblings, they all said no and all said they didn't realise Mom's name would be erased and they didn't want that. My dad and stepmom tried to coax them out of their no, but they all said they didn't want it, and Kalia said they only ever said yes because they felt like they should, not because they really wanted to be adopted. My dad was furious with me and said it was all my fault and I've made them change their minds. He said I robbed them of the security adoption would provide and effectively ensured that they would never truly see our stepmom as Mom after such a big line in the sand was drawn. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You said no. They need to accept it. And it's on Dad to have a will that expresses his wishes should he die next month for your siblings and your living arrangements. The "you can hang up your original birth certificate" is a bunch of BS. You do that and the next thing you know, stepmom and dad will ask you to put it in location X because stepmom's feelings got hurt. You made your position 100% clear. She is not your mom. You do not see her as a mother. You are a hero for researching and educating your siblings on their options. That is what any responsible loved one of your minor siblings should do in this situation. They should be fully informed of their options in any case where a permanent legal change is made on their behalf. Your dad and stepmom's approach was inappropriate if it did not include this. Your dad has a right to feel sad about the choice, but he does not have the right to pressure anyone about it. They need to respect your boundaries. A few days ago, my wife, 28, and I, 30, discovered she's pregnant. We'd been trying for about a year after she'd experienced a loss of a pregnancy that we hadn't planned. We're both super happy and excited to become parents. So yesterday, I went out to lunch with my mom and I told her the news, to which she was thrilled for my wife and me. I didn't think anything of it until I told my wife that I told my mom, and she was immediately upset with me. Given how her last pregnancy ended, she said she wasn't ready for people to know. She said that now because my mom knows that she's pregnant, she's going to know if something goes wrong and she's not comfortable with that. When I asked her why that was such a big deal, all she could say was, "It just is," and I wouldn't understand. In my defense, it's not just her news to share, it's ours. And it was completely reasonable to tell my mom as she's an immediate family member who I'm very close with. I also know for a fact that she already told her sister, so I just don't see how my telling my mom is a problem. She also never communicated to me that she wanted me to keep the news to myself. A day later, she's still very much mad at me. I'm getting the silent treatment and she avoids me like I'm the one who did something bad. Again, I didn't do anything wrong here. While I understand that it's her body, I think it's unfair that she can tell her support system, but I'm not allowed to tell mine. Am I the idiot? Wow, you really can't be this obtuse. A quick lesson from a 62-year-old married guy. For the record, yes, the two of you are married, and you're both sort of pregnant. But now listen very carefully. My wife endured 2 losses, and I don't care who the guy is. There is no way, repeat, no way, we as men can fully understand the emotions women go through if a pregnancy goes wrong. Furthermore, did you swear your mother to secrecy, or has she now told everyone and anyone that you're expecting? Now, think for a moment about what this will put your wife through if, heaven forbid, something goes wrong with the pregnancy. If by now 47 other people know about the pregnancy and something does go wrong, imagine your poor wife having to explain 47 times over her heartache and how it makes her feel. So yes, you are a clueless idiot. Absolutely, and mother-in-laws are usually insanely critical of their sons' wives. So if she has a loss, she may very well go, "What's wrong with her?" If I were pregnant, I'd much rather tell a close friend over his overly critical mom. Dude, you are not pregnant, and therefore it is not your pregnancy to announce. You are there to support her. I'd recommend couples counselling because I think you have deeply betrayed her trust, and I can't tell if you're truly as dense as you're coming across here, or if you just have no empathy for your wife's feelings. There's a difference between sharing the news like you did with your precious mommy and wanting support from someone close to you who shares your anatomy. Update. After typing this all out and coming back and rereading it, I realised that I sounded like an idiot and apologised to her. She accepted my apology and we made up and got sushi. My wife didn't have raw fish sushi, she had a California roll with imitation crab, which is perfectly fine from everything we read. Thank you for helping me realise I was in the wrong. LOL.